right, welcome back, everybody. It is week 5 in the NFL, right? Week 5?
Yeah.
Oh, week 5.
Quarter way through the year.
We got a ton of stuff to go over this week. Ton of stuff. By the way, we're going to start out. Welcome everyone who has joined the show. Viewership is up.
Big time.
Please, if you like the show, get all your friends watching.
Sure.
If we can get up to 1,000 views on one of these episodes, there'll be a special one of you guys who comment and participate every week will win a special prize. No, it's not like a Cracker Jack prize. It's actually something decent. So if we can get to 1,000, the goal is 1,000 views within a week. Okay? If we can get this video here over 1,000 or over in views somehow by the start of next Wednesday, there'll be a special prize for somebody that comments in the comments section of the show. So, let's go right on into the news and notes. The Chargers, they waived center Max Turk, who was suspended for the first 4 games of the season. He was released, but could end up on the Chargers practice squad.
Oh, I don't really know much about this guy. Did it say why he was suspended? Doesn't matter.
See, he was for violating the league's policy on performance-enhancing substances.
Okay. So, Chargers are, what we got? The Chargers, the Giants, the 49ers are the teams, the Cleveland Browns that are all 0-4. Chargers, I don't know. Who's the best out of those 4 teams that are 0-4.
I'd say the Giants.
Giants. Yeah. So, well, when you look at really the first quarter of the season, okay, and this is something I wanted to talk and ask Andy about. Who's your biggest surprise so far?
I think the Pats are 2-2 are a big surprise.
Buffalo 3-1.
Yeah, I'd have to say after beating Atlanta in Atlanta, I would say so.
Rams 3-1.
Yeah,
that's a huge surprise.
That's a big one. Yeah,
that's huge. I mean, that's a team that we didn't think we were going to do well.
Yeah.
What about the Chiefs 4-0?
No, that doesn't surprise. They were good last year. They got a great running back, rookie. You got
a lot of speed there. So
I don't think Kansas City's that much of a surprise.
So we can start eliminating teams from playoffs. I mean, you can start eliminating
all the 0-4
San Francisco. You can eliminate the Bears, the Giants, the Chargers. I mean, who else are we looking at? Miami's 1-2. They've only played 3 games.
Miami, Jay Cutler looks terrible.
Cincinnati's 1-3. You can probably
probably.
Can
they beat Cleveland, so that's not impressive.
Yeah.
Here's something else that's not impressive. The Saints lost offensive lineman Strief to injured reserve. Zach Strief, who was hurt in London, he's been on place on injured reserve.
Yeah, anytime you lose any offensive lineman, especially New Orleans, who needs to protect their quarterback and Drew Brees. Once again, that game was early at 9:30, and I had taken Miami. I thought they would bounce back, but that London game didn't treat them too well. They both teams have experience over in London, but Miami just they scored a point, didn't they? They got shut out.
Shut out.
Yeah. So, but that's a big loss for the Saints and their offensive line. The Saints aren't actually playing too poor football. When you look at where the Saints are right now, they're 2-2. They're only a game back, but you got Carolina at 3-1 and Atlanta at 3-1. I think 10 or 11 wins is probably going to win that division. And a guy going down on their offensive line for New Orleans is not going to help them out.
Falcons put defensive lineman Crawford on injured reserve for a biceps injury. Jack Crawford's season-ending surgery.
Another huge loss for the Falcons and Dan Quinn, who is a former defensive line coach, both with the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks defensive coordinator. He's a defensive-minded guy. Whenever he intentionally gets guys that can pass rush off turf, and they do a good job. This is one of those guys. Unfortunately, this guy's done for the year.
Suspension for Bears Trevathan trimmed to 1. Danny Trevathan's 2-game suspension for a hit that sent Packers wide receiver Devontae Adams to the hospital has been reduced to 1 game.
Did you see this?
No.
This guy. It was a blowout. This guy should have been arrested. He had a perfect opportunity on a defensive murder somebody, and he lowered his head, and I thought the guy was dead when he did it. It was a garbage time on that Thursday night game where they had the thunderstorm delay, and there was 35-7 or 35 whatever it was, and I'm surprised they reduced it and they didn't tack on another one. If you ever go back and watch that replay, this is a guy that should have been thrown out of the league. He should have been suspended for the entire year. Football is a violent sport, and to take the crown in your helmet and really try to break someone's neck is really what this guy did. So I'm shocked that they reduced the penalty to 1 game. I don't know what the explanation on that was, but it really was a bad deal, and the guy could have died.
So Tom Brady penalized a reporter for interrupting him. When he was answering a question during his news conference, he interrupted a reporter. A reporter interrupted him, and the Patriots quarterback responded by giving the reporter a penalty for a false start.
Well, if there's anyone that can do that, it's Brady. I think as far as New England goes, they're in a frustrated situation right now. Brady must be frustrated, and all the fans are frustrated. Going out there and they're doing their job, scoring over 30 points a game, and they did a great job again of really coming back with down by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They do a great job doing that in the fourth quarter. It almost seems like, why can't they be doing this the whole game to tie it up? And 2 huge penalties by Stephon Gilmore, illegal hands to the face. Both of them were on 3rd and long. After that, then they got a sack one time. I think Hightower got in there for a sack on Newton on the last one, and it's an automatic first down, 5 yards. They go down there and kick the field goal to win the game. As far as New England goes, I'd be more worried if their offense wasn't doing well. I mean, this is a team that if they need to score 50 a game, they'll score 50 a game, and that's basically what they're going to have to do. Abandon the run when you have to, but now with James White being able to catch balls out of the backfield at a good clip, I think he had 6 or 7 receptions last week. Chris Hogan, is really taking advantage of the double team on Cooks and on Gronkowski. The offensive line is what it is. It's never going to be fantastic. The bottom line is that this defense cannot get off the field. They 3rd and long. They're always finding a way to keep the other team on the field, and all they needed to do was get one more stop, and then that New England was going to come down and at least kick a field goal with Gostkowski. So. New England sitting there at 2-2. It would be interesting, coming off a short week to see what they can do against a Tampa Bay team, on the road. It's me being a New England fan saying this, but I don't want to say it's a must-win. But this is a game that I'm sure coming off a short week against a Tampa Bay team that they should definitely beat, but. The way that defense is playing and the way that, especially with the offense that Tampa Bay has with those, arguably the 2 best receiving core with Evans and Jackson, if they can't stop those 2 guys, it could be a shootout. And, we'll see what happens. But, as far as Brady goes, he's going to be there and he's going to be, scoring 4 or 5 touchdowns a game. The defense really just, like I said, if they can limit the other team to 4 touchdowns, which seems like something that they should be able to do, but they're human beings, and when they're on the field for such a long time, you get tired, and there's only X amount of guys they can rotate in and rotate out. But I think that if anyone's been hearing it for the last couple of weeks, it's definitely the Patriots defense, and I think they got enough veterans on that defense to really step it up. But, really, something that you never see happen in New England are the penalties. These penalties, going back to the original topic of this was false start by the reporter. The penalties for New England is just something that's very uncommon. And we really haven't seen it during the Belichick era.
Speaking of penalties, Gronk says the refs need to be consistent with offensive pass interference calls. On Tuesday, New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski expressed frustration over how inconsistently offensive pass interference penalties are officiated, and he was obviously penalized in Sunday's loss to the Panthers.
Well, the thing with Gronk is, people are going to battle him because, they're going to try to get their hands all over him and try to slow him down as best they can within that 5-yard chuck zone. Anytime Gronk is in a physical situation, he's never going to lose that. So even if it looks as though he's trying to get the guy off him, he's so powerful and so strong, it looks like he's actually pushing off to get open. And unfortunately, it's like it's like the recess outside when you have a 7th grader being guarded by a second or third grader. There's always a mismatch, and when the older kid or Gronkowski in this situation tries to get separation, it looks like he's pushing off, and I think that's really, to the human eye, what's really going on. And I don't think he's doing it as much as trying to get the guy off him and create space legally, but it just looks worse than it really is.
Well, despite the loss to the Jets, the Jaguars are off to the best start since 2010, and they're tied for first. Considering the state of the franchise over the last decade, that's not nothing, says ESPN.
Well, Marone's done a good job. I think, having Coughlin down there has been, worked out well for them so far. They still are in a weak division. I honestly, I think the NFC or the AFC South, I think Houston's going to run away with this thing. Houston's going to they're going to win that division pretty handily, as far as I'm concerned. Jacksonville, they have the top. They have the running backs. Fournette has been played unbelievable. The offensive line's played well. Bortles, for what it's worth, is played decent. Everyone thought he was going to have a terrible year. He's had a decent year so far. Lee, the receiver, the tight end there, who's come out of nowhere. The guy who used to play for Julius. What's his last name?
Caesar.
The guy who used to play for the Broncos. I can't think of his last name, but Thomas. No, can't think of whatever his last name. They've been playing pretty well down in Jacksonville, and we'll see what happens. They're playing they're playing Cleveland this week. So we'll see what happens. No, they're playing the Steelers at the Steelers, so that's probably going to be a loss. But Jacksonville, you never know. I mean, their defense is playing a lot better than they have been. I think their running game is right up there in the top 10 with anyone in the league. It's just a question of whether they can have Bortles, pull some games out for them. I think they're going to hover right around that 500 all year, maybe a 7-9 finish. So we'll see what happens.
So Mitchell Trubisky debuts against Minnesota. The Vikings defense, it ranks 3rd against the run and 9th in points allowed. It could present some headaches.
Yeah, anytime you start a rookie quarterback, midway through the year, everyone's going to be gunning for him. This is going to be a tough start for a rookie quarterback. Keep in mind that this guy is the guy that Chicago mortgaged, 2 or 3 years worth of a draft to trade up and get. This kid went to North Carolina. I don't think he is the second coming of John Elway, but at the same point in time, the Bears need to try and do something. They're 1-3. This is the time to go ahead and play your rookie quarterback to get his feet wet, get him some snaps in there, and fortunately, he's making his first start against quite a bit of a really good defense in Minnesota. Chicago really, how they're going to win games is by running the ball. And against the Green Bay last Thursday night, they the first play of the game was a sack, forced fumble, and then Green Bay scored. So, right before you could even blink, Chicago's down 14-0, and the idea of starting to run the ball when you're down 14-0 really is not productive. So I think the running game is going to do more to help out Trubisky than anything else. If they can get Howard and they can get Cohen going, their offensive line, as far as the run goes, is pretty formidable. They got a good offensive line. They got some quick receivers, some young guys. but we'll see what happens with Trubisky. And I don't think they're expecting John Elway to walk through that door. But at the same time, you can't get much worse than Mike Lennon.
So the Ravens have logged enough miles in 2 weeks to travel halfway around the globe. So they will fly more miles during the 2 trips to London in week 3, which they already did, and they got mauled, and Oakland in week 5.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 teams will fly all season.
Yeah, that's the thing with having teams and playing teams in London, especially, and then having teams on the East and the West Coast. That's just something that teams are gonna have to deal with. When I was doing all the trips and planning all the trips for the 49ers, and we notoriously, us or Seattle, were the teams that always traveled the longest, being so far west. And, it's one of those things that, we always flew a day. We always gave our guys another day in the city wherever we traveled. We always left on a Friday for a Sunday game unless we were playing, within our time zone in Seattle or in Denver or in Arizona. The travel really, these guys are big guys. They're big football. They're 53 guys on a plane, and it's really the whole. If you can think of the whole back section of a plane, these guys spread out. Now, as far as the travel to the game, if guys are stiff or the travel there is not as bad as the travel back, especially when you have those short weeks. But the miles are the miles. The miles are not going to get any shorter, so teams are just going to have to deal with it, and they're getting paid a lot of money to play these football games on Sunday. So I don't think you'll have anybody else, feeling sorry for them.
So Max Kellerman says Antonio Brown is worth the drama because of his talent. He was caught on the sideline knocking over water coolers because Roethlisberger.
I agree. I don't really have any problems with Antonio Brown. He's arguably, if not the best receiver in football. Him or Julio Jones or Beckham, however you want to stack them up, they're all really, really good. He's only done really one thing, and that was when he was on Facebook when the team was doing or Mike Tomlin was making those comments at the end of in the locker room. Look, I mean, when you look at it, Brown breaking stuff on the sidelines or dumping water coolers is nothing. He's a choir boy compared to a guy like Beckham. I like Brown. I like Antonio Brown. He can play for my team any day of the week. I think this is just the media picking on something. Everyone's is a competitor that really, really wants to win, and when people get frustrated, they lash out, they break things, and as long as it's not affecting the team or anyone personally, or he's getting flagged for it, obviously you don't want to see it, but at the same time, these guys are human, and for what Antonio brings to the table, I think all 32 teams would deal with him throwing around some water coolers on the sideline. So he could play for them on Sunday, so I don't think it's that big of a deal.
So the Giants are struggling to put points on the board, and Ben McAdoo's decisions on 4th down have left him open to second guessing.
Well, anytime you're in New York and you're 0-4, every call is going to be second guess every single time. They're in a spot now where they really have to, if they really want to make this, if they want to even have a chance to do anything, they're gonna have to run off 7 or 8 games in a row. Do the Giants have a team that can do that right now? Probably not. Really, there's really no. They're just lackadaisical. They're not playing 4-quarter games. They're having 2 or 3 good quarters within each game, but can't finish it at the end. They did a great job a couple weeks ago coming back against Philly. They should have won that game. They had Tampa Bay down, and they should have won that game, but they allowed Tampa to come back and beat them, in the last couple of minutes there. New York, if you're losing and you play in New York, it's going to be all over the newspapers, all over the media. Guy like Eli Manning is not a type of guy who's going to come out and be a vocal leader. He's going to, he's more of a roll with the punches type of guy. Ben McAdoo, for what he's worth, he's a great offensive mind, but is he a head coach that can stand up to the media in New York and like a Tom Coughlin? Absolutely not. The first thing is they gotta put a win on the board, and until they do that, and try to build on a win after a win, the more questions, the more it's going to be micromanaged, going to be dissected, whether he goes for it on fourth or not. At this point in time, being 0-4 in the season in the NFC East, you really got nothing to lose now. I think with the way the Giants are, I think McAdoo is really coaching to save his job right now, because they can't let this thing become an embarrassment. And the possibility of 2-14 or 1-15, God forbid it ever gets there, I think he would lose his job, and I think they probably want to see what their next quarterback's going to be, because it doesn't look like Eli Manning's getting any better.
Lee Smith says the Raiders have a, quote, great quarterback in E.J. Manuel to replace Derek Carr. E.J. Manuel's Raiders teammates trust his ability to take over for an injured Derek Carr. They've been impressed by the 2013 first rounder.
Great is great's a word where we use it probably a little too much. As far as great quarterbacks in this league, I bet you there's 5 or 6 great, maybe 4 great quarterbacks. E.J. Manuel is not a great quarterback, okay? He is average at best. First round bust, I would say. There's a reason why he's no longer in Buffalo. There's a reason why he's a backup quarterback. Anytime you're a backup quarterback, the word great shouldn't be in the vocabulary. He had a chance to really, spark a comeback, and he threw an interception at the end of the game there to lose to the Broncos. I think the not having Carr is something that's huge for Oakland. I mean, they lost him. He went down last year, and they really shit the bed. And this year, we'll see what happens. Coming back off a back injury, I don't know what the timetable is for Carr, but E.J. Manuel is not a guy that's going to go out there and win you football games, especially with the way the Oakland receivers have been playing. Cooper's dropping everything. Crabtree's been injured. Marshawn Lynch really hasn't done anything. The Oakland Raiders are the Luna's little bonker action here. We'll see what happens with Manuel. Not a big fan of him, but I don't think he's a great quarterback at all.
So the Titans secondary is not living up to its billing. They're allowing 275 passing yards a game, and they've spent a lot of resources to try to shore it up.
Yeah, they got torched by Houston.
Luna! Stop it.
Houston could have scored 80 on them on Sunday. Tennessee, who's a team that people thought were going to, build off of what they did last year. And, their defense is looking terrible. I mean, terrible. Who says that? Charles Barkley? Terrible?
Terrible.
Yeah. You go out there and you try to shore up that defense, especially that secondary, and you throw a lot of money at some guys, and, they play like this. There's really not much you can do right now except try to get better and try to correct it. But when you're exposed in the NFL, it really opens up a lot of second guessing as far as who do they have the right guys in that? Can these guys stop anybody? Anytime you give up 57 points, it's really it's a bloodbath. And I think Tennessee is a team that has a good rookie quarterback, has really gone away of the running game, which really got them where they were last year, along with a bend but don't break defense. But anytime you give up, close to 60 points, I think, their defense and their secondary is in a world of hurt right now.
Dolphins coach Adam Gase, no more excuses for offense. Dolphins coach Adam Gase wants better pass protection for Jay Cutler, who is only averaging 5.85 yards per attempt.
Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, Adam Gase is an offensive guy. Obviously, the quarterback goes down, out for the year. And they have to get Jay Cutler, who's watching Netflix on the couch, and they really had to, throw an extra couple mil at him just to get him off the couch and to have him come take snaps. This is a guy who, doesn't care if the team's, 0-3 or 3-0, or, he's a guy that, has one of the strongest arms I've ever seen in person. When he came out of Vanderbilt, this guy can sling it. If he really gave a shit, then maybe he could be a lot better of a quarterback than he is. But that offensive line is never healthy. Pouncey and the other guys, they can never stay healthy. Jay Ajayi, or whatever the hell his name is a guy that's got a lot of talent who has been hurt so far. Really hasn't gotten to a groove yet. But as Landry and the other guy, the second-year wideout, third-year wideout from Louisville, Adams, I think his name is Devontae Adams. Really they don't have a guy throwing it to him. So
Devontae Adams is on Green Bay.
Who am I thinking of? There's another guy on Miami, the wide receiver. Can't think of his name, but him and Landry. Really are two good wideouts that really haven't got going, as long as with the run game as well. So we'll see what happens.
Bruce Arians compares Carson Wentz to Andrew Luck and Ben Roethlisberger. The Cardinals coach says his team's opposing quarterback this week is tough, athletic, and has, quote, that linebacker mentality.
Say it again. Bruce Arians compares
Carson Wentz to Andrew Luck and Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, I think Carson Wentz, he's got a long way to go to, be in the conversation with those guys. I think Carson Wentz is a quarterback who played against subpar talent, but has really come in the NFL and shown that he can play. That Philly team has really been a lot better than what we thought they were going to be. The addition of Alshon Jeffrey has really helped them out. Zach Ertz, has come a long way. But I think that, Wentz is a guy who's only going to get better. I think that Philly really has the offensive talent to really stay within that NFC East and, they can keep scoring points and winning games. They can be right there at the end. So I think Carson Wentz, he's got a long way to go to be, a Ben Roethlisberger, but he's on his way if he can keep doing what he's doing now.
Redskins failed late game strategy, helped Chiefs on final drive. Jay Gruden's timeout left too much time for Alex Smith and the Chiefs to work against the entire Redskins defense.
Yeah, this was, the billing was the best game of the week, and really it lived up to it. I think this is a game that Washington should have won outright. They allowed Kansas City to, stay in the game and kick a field goal to tie it up and then go down and win the game. And then shenanigans on the last play of the game, for all those bettors out there, it was, 23-20. And the Washington had covered the spread. They were +7, and the under was 48, and they'd done both of them. Okay, one play, there's 4 seconds to go. They tried all the shenanigans. The guy from Kansas City picks up the ball, runs in the end zone, and the people lose both the under and the Washington +7 on one bet. One play with 4 seconds to go. That's the game I was telling you about. That what an unbelievable ending.
What happened again?
So it's the spread is Washington.
No, I get all that. But what happened?
There's 4 seconds left. Washington has the ball. They're down by 3, and they do that. The one play, and they start pitching it to each other.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And the guy from Kansas City picks up there's a fumble and runs it into the end zone.
All right.
So Vegas. Vegas took another whirlwind with that one. But, we'll see what happens. I think Washington is a team that is still my pick for to win the Super Bowl, or to get to the Super Bowl against New England. I still think they have a good enough defense to get there. And I think they will get there. This is a tough game on the road, Monday night game at Arrowhead at Kansas City. So we'll see what happens.
So Wilkerson says the defense needs to stop the run. Jets defensive end Mo Wilkerson says that defensive coordinator Casey Rogers challenged the D-line to do better after telling them that they were 29th in the league in run defense.
Yeah, anytime you're 29th in the league in anything, you got to get better. You got to get better. The Jets need anything they can get their hands on, and they have some pretty big guys. You know, some mountainous ones in the middle there, and they got to do a better job against the run. They have the talent to do it. So, 29th in the league is not good enough.
Andrew Luck returned to practice, but was not in pads.
Yeah, I don't look like he's that much closer. I think they're going to go ahead and go with Brissett. Should be a barn burner against the San Francisco 49ers this week. And, someone's got to win that game, I guess, right? So we'll see what happens. I think Brissett's, got that still have that New England, in him as far as being a winner. I think Brissett's a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be, a Hall of Famer or anything, but for a guy to try and fill the shoes of an Andrew Luck, I think he's done a good job so far, so we'll see what happens there.
So, regular season game at Raymond James Stadium, a first for Tom Brady. The last regular season Patriots-Bucks game in Tampa was in 1997. It's almost 20 years ago. Yeah. At Houlihan Stadium, before the new stadium opened and before Tom Brady's time.
Yeah, Brady gets to cross off another, stadium off his list. As a Pats fan, I'm concerned about this game. I'm not going to lie to you. I think this is a game coming off a short week. You got guys on the injury. 7 or 8, 9 guys that are questionable who need to get on a plane and go fly. They don't really have that much of a week to rest coming off a battle against Carolina. We'll see what they can do. That defense is banged up. Gronk's questionable, Hogan's questionable, Amendola's coming back off the concussion. The running backs are banged up. So we'll see what happens. I think Brady's going to come out and do his thing, and really the thing that everyone's concerned about now is that defense. But I think they'll win the game. Hopefully it's not close. Hopefully they can come out and put 10 or 14 quick points on the board and have Tampa Bay, really have to throw their way back in the game and have Jameis who will he'll throw a couple picks, if given given a lot of attempts. So hopefully that's the way the game plans out.
So Cowboys defensive end Charles Tapper breaks foot in practice. He'll miss 10 to 12 weeks, and David Irving, who's returning from a 4-game suspension, will take his roster spot.
I don't really know much about that guy, to be honest with you, but, in Dallas, they need, the defense is really what is keeping them away from really being that elite team, in not only NFC East, but overall. They have the offense, and they just need to shore up that defense. So anytime you lose a player like that, even though you're going to replace him, is never good.
So Damian Woody says Cam Newton still hasn't learned his lesson. He references Cam Newton's Super Bowl postgame news conference and saying he still lacks maturity after Newton, female reporter discussing NFL roots.
Yeah, routes, right?
Routes.
Yeah,
routes.
Cam Newton. I think everyone knows how I feel about Cam Newton. This is the type of guy he's a big baby. I don't know if anyone saw I was on Twitter, and at the end of the New England game when he was running into the in the locker room, he said something about the media or something like that. Cam Newton is the biggest problem from Cam Newton is Cam Newton. If he could just shut up and had a muzzle and just worried about playing football and winning football games, he'd be a lot better person. He'd be a lot better player. He loves to hear himself talk. He's got all the talent in the world. And he really makes an ass out of himself when he doesn't talk to the media. For the first time, I actually do agree with Cam Newton because...
You mean Damian Woody?
No, I agree with Cam Newton in the fact of the matter that women should not be anywhere near football. They shouldn't be asking about routes, and pretty much the broads are there for everyone to look at. As far as I'm concerned, she should be waiting hand and foot on her husband or boyfriend watching the football game rather than reporting on the football game. Females, that's why we have, clothing jobs and, to cook, to clean, the whole shebang, But he's right. I don't think a woman should ever stand back there and ask an NFL football player what he's doing right or what he's doing wrong. He's just looking. He's just looking at me. I do agree with Cam Newton on that. One of the topics we haven't really covered is how poorly that woman ref was last year, and she got booted pretty quick. But we don't hear the headlines about that. All we heard was that there's a woman ref now, and all these equality, and she was terrible. And no one went out and said how poorly she was, or that she doesn't belong in football. And women, put them on the Weather Channel. Don't have them, think too hard about anything, especially sports. But if I'm a quarterback, if I'm a wide receiver, if I'm any sports player, and I'm fielding questions after a football game from abroad, I'd have the same reaction.
Saints put rookie linebacker Anzalone on injured reserve. Alex Anzalone with a shoulder injury.
That's not good. It's going to hurt him.
Okay, let's see. Looks like we're close to being done here. Big Ben says his job is to keep players accountable. Flacco says the Ravens' offensive woes are his fault. Browns vice president targets perennial playoff team goal. That's his goal, is to get the Browns to a perennial playoff team.
This year?
Yeah, no, in general, I guess. Lions linebacker Warlow has sprained MCL. How losing Stephon Gilmore helped Bills build a winning secondary. Instead of giving the cornerback a long-term deal, Buffalo spread out its cash to find a new group of starters in the secondary.
Hey, look what it's done. I mean, Gilmore, look, the guy's got all the tools in the world. He's a hell of a, he's just, when you see his face on TV, it just looks like it's not clicking for him, and he's making these stupid penalties. He's getting beat. Maybe Buffalo was right this time, and finally Belichick, got one wrong, especially in the secondary. You never see that, but it's still early. We'll see what happens.
Odell Beckham Jr. was told by Bucs cornerback they know his routes. The Giants say they've been trying to diversify their offense, but the results haven't been overly encouraging.
Yeah, the Giants they need a lot of help. I think that's a ticking time bomb in New York with especially with a guy like Beckham who, we have all these diva wide receivers. When the team's not winning, they'll come out and whether they know the routes or not, it really is all about the execution. And we'll see what happens down there in New York.
Melvin Gordon wants more touches. He vented over feeling, quote, helpless with the 0-4 Chargers, having to pass more to catch up.
Well, the Chargers are the Chargers. Melvin Gordon's a hell of a player. Really, is a hell of a talent, and they don't utilize him the way he feels, or a lot of people feel he should be utilized. But at the same time, when you continue to be down, the idea of running the ball is just not there. And if they were winning games and he wasn't getting the ball, if they were throwing the ball too much. But anytime you're down, you're always going to throw the ball more than you're going to run the ball. So I think he's got a legitimate beef. But the winning comes first, and if they can get up, then he'll get more touches.
Jenna Lane, an ESPN staff writer, says Bucs quarterback Jameis Winston said Tom Brady is the reason he's always striving to improve. Quote, every offseason, every rep that I get during the season, I'm trying to be better and better because I know he's still out there playing and he's still getting better and better.
Correct. Jameis Winston, or any kid out there, if you want to idolize and follow one guy, it's Tom Brady. As far as Winston goes, he's got a lot of talent. I think Brady is a lot smarter than Winston. I think that's really, as far as the physical tools go, I think Winston's got, is right there. But, he's nowhere near as smart as any other quarterback who's been great. So that's where he's going to struggle.
Tom Brady's opening quarter of season rivals best ever. Despite seeing increased pressure, the Patriots quarterback is putting up some of his best numbers of his career.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. This guy's in his 40s, and I think I said this a couple of weeks back to you. I think he looks like he's a better quarterback, more together, and better all over than he was back in 2007, 2008, 2009. I mean, he's getting better with age, and the biggest thing is that he's getting hit a lot, and that's the one thing that as a New England offense you cannot let happen. And even though he's under pressure, he still is producing, and he's making Chris Hogan a relevant name, where this guy played lacrosse his whole life and doesn't deserve to be on a football field, but he's throwing catching 2 touchdown balls from Tom Brady every week. So I think Brady, as long as he's back there and he's upright, he's going to be taking snaps for New England, and they can't afford him getting hurt or getting battled around.
So the statement from the NFL on Cam Newton's comments to a female reporter today, quote, "The comments are just plain wrong and disrespectful to the exceptional female reporters and all journalists who cover our league. They do not reflect the thinking of the league."
Well, we know how the statements, we have to make these statements to be politically correct. Like I said, females have no business, being around football. Cheerleaders, I get it. Sideline reporters, I get it. But as far as asking NFL players about X's and O's, there's no business being there. They should be handing out drinks or at the bars, wearing next to nothing. That's what they're good for. So as far as women being in the NFL, that's something that really they need to get a handle on, and especially during the press conferences, they shouldn't be there critiquing anybody, unless it's Martha Stewart about the cooking channel or something about interior decorating or something like that.
So other headlines, we've talked about Panthers Newton laughs at a female reporter. The Titans say they have no interest in Kaepernick for the quarterback spot. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers released ex-starting defensive end Smith. Gronk is a surprise add to the Pats injury list with a thigh. Could miss Thursday. Gay's defense, Cutler's inactivity in the Wildcat, and the Chiefs' Peters caught shouting profanity at a fan. So, let's go right on into this week now. We had a lot of newcomers. And the interesting thing is the second division, I call the second division, where we had Thomas Mack, 30, we had Bortz, and we had Dustin. All three of them didn't participate, and Bortz won a gift card last week. So they're both on 116, which makes no sense. But let's go right on into it. So Dan McLean went 10-6. He is 40-23. Lev Maker went 10-6. He is 37. Oh, before I go into that, let's go into what we do. So against the spread, I went 8-8. McLovin went 7-9. I am now 32-31 against the spread. McLovin is 26-37. As far as picks go, me and McLovin both went 8-8, and EDP went 7-9 again. So me and McLovin are tied at 38-25, and EDP in 2 weeks is 14-18. So let's go into the Division 1. Dan McLean, 10-6. Lev Maker, 10-6. CV Gunn, 10-6. Steve Goldman, 10-6. Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome, 9-7. Vadek, 7-9. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. makes a triumphant return, 11-5. And Cali Guy, 8-8. So, Dan McLean, Lev Maker, CV Gunn, Steve Goldman, Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., and you all win a gift card. I have that circled down here. Okay, now, as far as the standings go, Dan McLean in first at 40-23. Second place, we have CV Gunn at 39-24, a game out. Third place, we have a tie between Steve Goldman at 38-25 and Vadek's at 38-25, 2 games out. Fifth place, we have Yes to Anything That Is Cool. Fifth place, we have Lev Maker at 37-26. Okay, 3 games out. Sixth place, we have Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome at 9-7. Or excuse me, at 35-28, 5 games out. Seventh place, we have Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. at 34-29, 6 games out. And then last place, Cali Guy, 33 and 37 games out. In the What the Hell Happened Last Week division, where nobody participated, Thomas Mack is 7 and 25 after going 0 and 16. Bortz is now 10 and 22 after going 0 and 16. And Dustin is now 8 and 24 after going 0 and 16. So I don't know what happened to them. But let's welcome a bunch of people. I've abbreviated your names. We have Jacob, who went 8 and 8. We have Aaron, who went 10 and 6. We have Jennifer, who went 11 and 5. We have 360 Sports, who went 8 and 8.
Jennifer.
Yeah, Jennifer, female.
She kicked everyone's ass. Good job.
360 Sports, 8 and 8. I got a Den, D-E-N-N, 9 and 7. Deshaun Johnson, 6 and 10. I think he did the worst of anybody.
Any relation to Dontavian?
No. Annabelle, 7 and 9. Tyler, 11 and 5. Saints, 11 and 5. 22 Stevie, 11 and 5. Andy Menz, 8 and 8. Carlos, 9, 7 and 1. 9, 7 and 1. 9 and 7. Nick, 55. 11 and 5. Blake went 8 and 8. Adrian, 9 and 7. And Ryan W, 10 and 6. So you guys have won gift cards. Aaron, Jennifer, Den. We got Tyler, Saints, 22 Stevie, Carlos, Faf, Nick, 55, Adrian, and Ryan W. How I'm keeping track of all the gift cards. What you're going to do is email me at andyvhb@aol.com. All the gift cards again will be handed out at the end of the season, at the end of the Super Bowl conclusion, so it'll be early next year. All the gift cards you win, it's real simple. If you beat McLovin, you win a gift card. Your picks have to be in by Thursday. If they're not, and they're not in by Sunday, Thursday you get an automatic loss for Thursday, but then Sunday, if they're not in by Sunday's kickoff, then you're automatically disqualified 0 for 16 for that week. I think I'm imposing a penalty now. In the event that you miss a week, which is really impossible to do, it literally takes 8 seconds to fucking type in your picks. Not only will you go 0 and 16, but the following week you will be disqualified from winning a gift card. That's how we're going to do things. This isn't a fucking laissez-faire fucking situation here. This is real football with real men. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. In NHL preseason hockey, Toronto raped Winnipeg 7-2. And in the NL wildcard game, Arizona's up 6-4 in the bottom of the 6th.
How about tomorrow? What a day for sports tomorrow.
Yeah, day for sports. You got the Red Sox, Yankees,
and
the Pats. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the scores. Let's see what the hell we got going on. So, Pats, a Thursday night game. We got the Patriots 2-2. They're 1-0 away. Okay. Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2-1. They're 2-0 at home. The Pats are favored by 5.5 here.
I'm going to take New England minus 5.5.
All right, so am I. So AAPM, same. I'll just write same. Okay. Next up, we have Sunday. Bills 3-1, 1-1 away, going into Cincinnati, 1-3, 0-2 at home. Cincinnati at home, favored by 3.
I'm taking Buffalo plus 3.
Yep, same here. All right. Next up, we have the New York Jets, 2-2, surprising team, 2-2, 0-2 away against Cleveland, 0-4. They're 0-2 at home. Cleveland favored by 1.
Taking the Jets.
All right, I'm taking Cleveland to win the game. Cleveland plus 1. Pat, New York Jets minus 1. Excuse me, yeah, you're right. Cleveland minus 1, Jets plus 1 for you. All right, Panthers 3-1, 2-0 away, going into Detroit, 3-1, 1-1 at home. Pretty damn good game. Detroit favored by 2.5.
Panthers plus 2.5.
Okay, I agree. Plus 2.5, same. All right, then we have San Francisco 0-4, 0-2 away, going into Indy, 1-3, 1-1 at home. Indy favored by 1.5.
San Francisco plus 1.5.
All right, I think they win as well. Unless they lose, well, yeah. Tennessee 2-2, 1-1 away, going into Miami, 1-2, 0-1 at home. There is no spread.
It's Miami minus 1.
Okay.
So I'm taking. I don't know if Miami bounces back.
Well, Tennessee, Marcus Mariota's not playing.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Miami's got in Miami. They got to win. They have to win. Miami minus 1.
Yeah, I have to take Miami because I don't know who the hell the quarterback for the Titans is. Is he not playing? Or is he playing?
Who?
Mariota. He's playing.
Where did you hear he's not playing?
Well, I don't know. I saw something. Let me... Hold on.
Yeah. It says he's on the injury report.
Injured as in out or injured as in...
Injured as in Tennessee Titans.
Questionable.
Questionable.
Jesus. Yeah, I gotta go with Miami. All right.
So Miami -1.
Yeah, well, I'm taking Miami. All right, so now we have San Diego. Los Angeles Chargers 0-4, 0-1 away against the New York Giants 0-4, 0-1 at home. Somebody's got to win. A tie. Giants favored by 3.5.
God, this is tough. Giants -3.5.
Okay, same. Okay. AAPM. All right. Cardinals 2-2, 1-1 away, going into Philly 3-1, 1-0 at home. Philly's favored by 6.5.
Philly -6.5.
Taking Arizona plus 6.5. But I'm taking Philly to win the game. All right, Jacksonville 2-2, 1-1 away, going into Pittsburgh 3-1, 1-0 at home. Pittsburgh favored by 8.
Jacksonville +8.
All right, as ridiculous as this is going to sound, I'm taking Pittsburgh -8 only because I look. Pittsburgh is the most frustrating team this year for me against the spread. Like they fucking just they can't cover in Chicago, but then they blow out Baltimore. It's like I don't know. Baltimore 4 or 5 p.m. game. Baltimore 2-2, 1-1. I don't know how Baltimore's won any games. 2-2, 1-1 away, going into Oakland 2-2, 1-0 at home with EJ Manuel. Oakland -2.5. This is.
But
who do you think's going to win?
Oakland -2.5.
You're taking it.
Oh yeah, this is a no doubter. This is a gimme.
All right, I'll take your gimme. Seattle 2-2, 0-2 away, going into Los Angeles to face the Rams 3-1, 1-1 at home. Rams favored by 1.5.
Seattle +1.5.
Do you think they're going to win? Seattle's defense against Jared Goff is the question of the day. You'd figure Seattle's defense would murder him. The Rams favored by 1.5. Rams defense isn't that great, right?
They've been good enough. I mean,
all right, I'm gonna take the Rams. LA -1.5. All right, Green Bay 4:25 game. Green Bay 3-1, 0-1 away against Dallas 2-2, 1-1 at home. Dallas favored by 2.
Green Bay +2.
Yep, we agree there. Kansas City in the Sunday night game. Kansas City 4, great game. 4-0, 2-0 away, going into Houston 2-2, 1-1 at home. Kansas City on the road favored by 1 point.
Houston.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Houston's offense. I don't think Kansas City's offense is a match for Houston's defense. I think Houston's gonna. I think it's gonna be a lot. I think it's gonna be like Houston 28, Kansas City 17.
Okay.
I can see that all day. All right, so Houston +1. Yeah. All right, and then in the Monday night game, what an unbelievable matchup. We have Minnesota 2-2, 0-1 away, going into Chicago to face the Bears. 1-3, 1-1 at home. No line.
It's Minnesota -3.5.
Okay.
I'm taking Chicago +3.5.
All right, I'll also do that because you got Mitchell Trubisky's. Mitchell Trubisky's. All right, it's the favorite time of the show. It's time to call EDP. And let's see what we got this week with EDP 445. And he comes at you, ho-ass, with another video.
What was he in the porta potty last time we talked to him?
I forget. No.
Yeah, he said he was in a porta potty.
Oh, it's all right. That's right. He's at the gym when I talked to him earlier.
It's my dad's favorite time of the show.
The person you called has a voicemail
Oh, no. EDP, where are you? What are we going to do? Let's try calling him again.
Let's get Luna. Let's have Luna do some picks.
Let's don't say her name. She'll fucking wake up from her slumber.
Yo, what up, man?
Hey, what's up? You okay?
Yeah, I'm cool. Just fucking gassed right now, dog.
Did I catch you at a bad time?
Oh, no, you're good, dude. I'm just leaving the gym, man. You're perfectly good.
All right, man. So last week, me and McLovin went 8-8. You went 7-9.
7 fucking 9.
So let's go right on into it. We got your favorite team, the Patriots, going into Tampa tomorrow night. Who do you got?
Oh, shit, man. You know, well, the fucking, they said that the Patriots had like a historic bad fucking defense, so I'm going to go with my nigga Famous James.
Okay, I'm taking New England.
All right, so yeah, Pat, and then EDP's got Tampa Bay. All right, next game Sunday, Buffalo going into Cincy. Who do you got, EDP?
I got fucking Buffalo, man. Cincinnati and shit, dude.
Buffalo.
Okay. We all agree there. New York Jets go into Cleveland. Does Cleveland get its first win, EDP? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns. I don't know if Deshaun Kaiser is playing. I think it's fucking bullshit that Hugh Jackson pulled him, but I'm taking the Browns.
Who you got?
Jets.
I'm taking Cleveland. McLovin's got the Jets. All right, we got Carolina. Good game. Carolina going into Detroit. Who do you got?
Ooh, yeah, it is a good fucking game. Shit, you know, I'm going to take the Panthers.
Same. Carolina.
All right, it's Carolina all the way down. Next up, San Francisco going into Indianapolis in a must-watch game here.
Fuck, man, I must watch my ass, dude. Wait, you said
San Francisco going into Indianapolis.
I'm going to take the Colts.
San Francisco.
All right, I'm also taking San Francisco. I think they win their first game. All right, another must-watch game. Tennessee going into Miami.
Fucking with me. Tennessee and Miami. Fuck, I'm going to take Tennessee now.
Miami.
Yeah, I'm going to take Miami too. I think Mariota might not be playing, and if that's the case, Miami should win the game pretty easily.
Shit.
He's questionable. But here's the deal. Now, I was kidding about the last two games, but this is the must-watch game of the week. You ready for this?
Okay.
All right, you got the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 0-4, going into the New York Giants, who are 0-4.
Oh, shit. Dude, I'm going to take the fucking Chargers, and that's going to mean not even being fucking bitter. I feel like the Chargers are, like, just overall a better fucking team, dude.
I'm going to take the Giants.
I'm also taking the Giants. It's going to be close, though, man. I can see this game going either way, like a 20-17 type of a game.
I think the Giants are going to beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, so McLovin says the Giants are going to beat them by 2 touchdowns. We'll see. All right, now I saw your video earlier. Now, look, I saw your video earlier. I watched the whole thing like I do every video you post up there. Even the video when you called out all New England fans and laughed when they lost, okay, in the car. So I normally agree with you. I don't think that the Eagles are going to lose this game. I can't see it happening. And I know you're going to say it's the Eagles. Look, as a Red Sox fan, I can say the same thing. The Red Sox and the Bruins for the longest time would shit the bed to teams they shouldn't. I just don't. Arizona's old. I don't see them beating Philly in Philly. But who are you going to take?
I'm going to take the Cardinals, dude. And the reason I say that is because, you know, and allow me to explain. You know, like, the Eagles do this fucking shit every fucking year. You know what I mean? And I'm not fucking blind. I'm not some blind-ass fucking sheep where you have these dumb fucking Eagles fans running around here fucking, oh yeah, 3-1, first place in the East. Who gives a fuck? It's only week fucking 4. You feel me? And we really haven't beaten the Cardinals since fucking 2008, since I was a fucking junior in high school. Yeah, we let that fluke ass win in 2013, but let's be fucking real. Like, we turned around, played them in 2014, and got rid of
That's a great analogy. Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles because I think the Eagles are a lot better of a football team. I think Arizona doesn't have their best player in the running back. I got Chris Johnson, who's old. Carson Palmer's old. I think they can do enough to shut down Fitzgerald. I think Philly wins this game by at least 10 points.
So here's something that's that I don't think you'd know. EDP, if you had a wild guess, how old do you think Pete Carroll is?
Say that last part again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, how old do you think Pete Carroll is? If you had a wild guess, how old do you think Pete Carroll is?
Pete Carroll?
Yeah.
Shit, he looks like it's been like his late 50s, early 60s.
What do you think?
He's 73.
66. You really thought he was 73?
I don't know. I know he's the oldest coach.
Yeah, oldest coach in the league. I can't believe he's older than Belichick.
Oh, yeah.
He looks younger than Belichick does.
Yeah.
So Pete Carroll's 66. So it's the oldest coach going against the league's youngest coach. Sean McVay's 31. But anyway, Jacksonville going into Pittsburgh.
Who's your pick?
Huh?
For the Philly.
Oh, I'm taking the Eagles. I already told them that in the beginning. All right, EDP. Jacksonville going into Pittsburgh. Who do you have?
Man, this ain't gonna be no fucking repeat of the 2007 fucking wild card. Yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh, bro.
Pittsburgh.
All right, Pittsburgh all the way. We got Baltimore going into Oakland. Who do you got?
Baltimore going into Oakland.
Now, this is a tough one because E.J. Manuel is the fucking starter because Derek Carr broke his back.
Oh, he broke his fucking back.
He has a fracture in his back. Yeah, he's out for a while.
Holy shit. Baltimore.
I'm taking Oakland.
All right, McLovin's taking Oakland. I got to take... Ugh.
Baltimore sucks.
I got to take Baltimore. I have to.
Suck.
All right, Seattle going into Los Angeles to face the Rams. We just talked about that. Who do you got?
Seattle going into L.A.?
Yep.
Oh, fuck, I'm taking L.A., man. I feel like they're on the fucking high street, bro.
Seattle.
McLovin's taking Seattle. Who did I pick against the spread? I picked...
I took the Rams.
I did, so I got to take the Rams. All right, I'm taking the Rams also. And then Green Bay going into Dallas. Who do you got?
Oh, shit. Oh, you said they're going into Dallas, though.
Yep, Green Bay's going into Dallas.
Oh, fuck, man. I don't know. I'm taking the Cowboys. Fuck, man.
Green Bay.
I'm taking Green Bay also. And then, this is no joke. This is going to be a really good game. Sunday Night Football. Kansas City goes into Houston.
Oh, shit, dude. You know what? I want to take a fucking upset. I'm going to pick the fucking Texans.
Me too. Houston.
I think we're all taking Houston. I think Houston's going to... I was telling McLovin, I think the game is going to be 28-17 Houston. I could see that happening. And then Monday night's game that nobody's going to watch ever unless you live in Minnesota or Chicago. You got Minnesota taking on Chicago.
Vikings. Motherfucker, I'm sorry. I want to pick my nigga Mitchell motherfucking Trubisky.
I'm gonna take Minnesota.
I'm taking the Bears as well. EDP. I think Chicago's gonna win by 2 touchdowns. And that's pretty much it. EDP. Thanks for joining us again this week. Obviously, folks, check out his channel. You obviously know him. If you don't know him, you've been living under a rock. But his Week 5 picks will be up soon, if they're not already up by now. And EDP, appreciate you coming on the show again this week, man.
Hey, man, thank you for having me, man. It's always fun to come on.
Sure.
All right, man, we'll see you.
Good luck.
All right, have a good one, bro.
See ya.
All right, folks, that's it. Remember, try to get to 1,000 views by next Wednesday. One of you will get a special surprise, and it will not be a shower surprise. All right? For those of you who don't know that, if you went to college, you know what that means. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.